Our top players are making a commitment to play in all 12 elevated events, as well as the Players' Championship, the Masters Tournament, the PGA Championship, the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship. They will also add at least 3 additional PGA Tour events to their schedules. Our top players are firmly behind the tour, helping us deliver an unmatched product to our fans, who will be all but guaranteed to see the best players competing against each other in 20 events or more throughout the season. This is an extraordinary and unprecedented commitment, a testament to who these guys are and what they believe in. We're debuting in 2023 an earnings assurance program. This is an evolution of the Play 15 program. It provides a $500,000 league minimum to every fully exempt player, with rookies being paid up front. We believe it meets the challenging dynamic of how players manage and invest in their careers, and it's comparable to how other leagues approach their athlete compensation.
Again, that was PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan. Here's an overview of the future schedule changes and compensations. There is so much here, guys. Top players are going to commit to at least 20 tour schedules, a 20-event tour schedule, which will include 12 elevated events, totaling an increase of $100 million in purses. There's an expansion of the Player Impact Program that doubles the amount of rewarded players and has a bonus pool of $100 million. There's also now a guaranteed league minimum of $500,000 for exempt players and a travel stipend for non-exempt players. Let's bring in our caddy, America's caddy, Michael Collins, joining us now from the site of the Tour Championship in Eastlake. Michael, this is where the news conference was held today, and I know that you spoke to Commissioner Jay Monahan after he exited the podium. Tell us what your biggest takeaway was from your conversation with Jay Monahan.
Yeah, Sage, literally right before we came on air, I was 50 yards away from here talking to Jay Monahan and asked him, what's the most important thing that you want sports fans and golf fans to take away from your presser that you just had? And he said, Michael, now starting in January in 2023, golf fans and sports fans are going to know that they're going to see the top players play against one another in at minimum 17 events, so they can book immediately on their calendar. We know that there's going to be 17 times that we're going to see the best players in the world playing together. But even more importantly than that, what the PGA Tour is doing is not just bringing those top guys together, but it's also taking care of the new guys that are coming in that maybe didn't come from great means. And with that, we're talking about the $500,000 league minimum they put up for the guys that are coming onto the tour.
Okay, again, a lot to dive into here. First, let me take you back to last week in Delaware when they called the players-only meeting, and Tiger Woods, not playing, of course, in the FedEx playoffs, he flies in to be part of this meeting. Everybody says just to get on the same page. How many of the changes that have just been announced are directly related to that meeting and what those players discussed and then brought to Jay Monahan?
I don't honestly, Sage, think that they had a meeting last week and then the tour had a presser this week and said, we're changing everything because of what those guys did. And here's why I say that. I spoke to Rory McIlroy, whose presser was immediately after Jay Monahan's. And when Rory McIlroy came off, I said, Rory, what do you want me to tell people about what you were just talking about up there? And he goes, Mike, the most important thing is that we as independent contractors, there were 23 men in a room that always thought about I and what's best for me. And 23 of the top guys got into a room and said, let's think about what's best for us and we. And I think in doing that, then it showed not only the golf world, but everybody else out there that these guys really are on the same page. And then I asked Rory, you know, we've heard some rumblings and some rumors about maybe this is a shadow organization that is like they're the real commissioners. And he said, no. It's the exact opposite of that. This is our way as players to let the commissioner, Jay Monahan, know that we are 100% behind you and the PGA Tour.
It's so interesting, though, Michael, because Rory McIlroy is one of several of the best players in the world, the top players, who has been extremely critical publicly of LIV Golf and what that tour is doing. Rory, Tiger, JT, you name it. Many of them have been critical specifically of the guys who have chosen to go over to LIV. Isn't it fair to say, though, Michael, that all of these sweeping changes, hundreds of millions of dollars that the PGA Tour announced today, would not be happening if not for LIV Tour?
Yeah, it's a little bit ironic, and Rory even mentioned that in his presser, that as much as he doesn't want to give Phil Mickelson any credit whatsoever, it wouldn't be true if he didn't. And he has to say that a lot of these changes are happening now because of that, but they were in the works for a little bit of time before. It's just that because of what has happened on the LIV Tour, that they have come to fruition so quickly out here onto the PGA Tour. And that being said, Rory also said he holds no ill will towards any of those guys on the LIV Tour. You want to go over there and make that decision, but what Rory said is he just wishes that sometimes he could get in a room with those guys and give them the actual facts of what's going on, because he feels like some of those guys who went to LIV made those decisions going there without the actual facts of what the PGA Tour was trying to do.
Okay, quickly here then, Michael, with all of the increases here and better, almost like a salary for some of those exempt players, right? I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars have all of a sudden changed for these guys. How much do you at this early stage believe that all these changes are going to affect some of the players who have been talking to LIV or are considering talking to LIV now or in the future?
Yeah, the number that I heard thrown out there was between 6 to 8 guys after the Tour Championship going over to LIV. And a couple of those names were in that meeting last week. Now, I don't know if Rory might have changed some minds. I'm sure he hopes that he did. But I would say that the effect that this has on the players that might be sitting on the fence and haven't already signed with LIV, I think it might keep some of those guys here on the PGA Tour in the future.
Okay.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.